Welcome, co-leads. I'm Blossom Johnston, founder of Idaho Partners for Good, and I would like to help you get prepared to be a co-lead with a new grantee. So I have such a heartfelt appreciation for the fact that you have stepped into this leadership role to help us to continue to perfect what we're doing in the area of capacity building and technical assistance to support the mission and vision of our systems leaders in the nonprofit sector in Idaho. So you're the heart of this transformational movement. What you do sets the stage for our success. And without highly effective and highly skilled coaches, this organizational capacity approach won't work. So I just want to let you know, starting out here, if you have not watched the other modules for capacity builders, please go back into the classroom and watch those first before doing this one. Things will make much more sense, and that will help center your mindset and give you a good foundation from which to build on, so that you can be the best co-lead possible. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to help you to understand the mission, vision, and culture. We'll define what a co-lead is, if an effective co-lead, what it takes to be an effective empathetic co-lead, the roles and responsibilities, the importance of using innovation and design, resources that are available to you, timelines, due dates, and then what if you need some troubleshooting. So our vision, mission, and values, very straightforward. We're developing stronger, healthier, better equipped nonprofits so they do more of what they do best. The way we're doing that is we are reinventing how people like you and me give to share our expertise and do greater good together. So we have what are called the 3 T's: time, talent, and treasure. And that's what we are investing in our nonprofit sector. Our values are fairly straightforward as well. We are learners. We're people who are philanthropists, and essentially what that means is people who want to do good for humankind. So we're engaged philanthropists, and we're committed to results and lifelong learning. We're entrepreneurs, especially in the way that we think and the way that we show up. And we are flexible and inclusive. Then we design with end users. So the importance of human-centered design is built right into our value system. And the reason for that is so that they get what they actually need and not necessarily just what we think they might need. So here's the roles and responsibilities of co-leads. It's really an edu-coaching position that essentially means that you are educating, you're coaching, you're mentoring, you're in that position of quarterback for the team, both Idaho Partners for Good as well as a grantee. You'll help co-design their annual action plan using key driver diagrams and other types of logic models. You'll monitor, support, and resource them so that they can complete their action plan on an annual basis. You will help the grantee develop the necessary skills, but you will not do it for them. You'll ask thought-provoking questions and investigate how you might get them to new solutions for their pain points and the challenges that they're facing. You will help facilitate their growth and development by providing resources and opening our networks to them. Then not only will you give constructive feedback on how they are progressing, you'll also, there's an expectation that you will receive constructive feedback from them as well. As that last slide about values, we are a learning organization. And in order to learn, we've got to ask for feedback. So here's how we define a co-lead. It's 2 or more people that equally shoulder and share power and influence rather than just one leader. Some of the examples corporately are Whole Foods, Oracle, and Atlassian. There's lots of benefits to co-leading. For the grantee, they get double the amount of skill sets and perspectives to help inform their work. On our side and the grantee side, we know life happens. And if there's at least 2, then the work will continue to be done, which really is the fulcrum of this. We cannot let the grantee stay out there languishing. We have to keep on keep the coaching and the managing going throughout the cycle, the annual cycle. Then there's two educoaches. These are people who are cultivating and nourishing those relationships throughout the grantee organizations. And then when challenges arise, which they will, there's going to be someone that will always be available to provide you with the thought partnership necessary to identify options that might help. And they're well informed because they're doing the work in the trenches with you. Okay, if you were asked to be a co-lead, then we have acknowledged that you have these kinds of knowledge, skills, and dispositional qualities, and we want to just highlight them. So you have the ability to coach, mentor, and counsel. You've got strong project management skills, or you know how to at least aggregate and pull those in. You have the ability to adapt. Huge. Your adaptability quotient is for this type of work. You either have strong management skills or you know where to get them to ensure that the team of capacity builders that are on our side to deploy into the grantee work, they are managed well. And then you don't need to have your way, which is a huge hallmark of a educoach and a great mentor. You are constantly learning and you're humble enough to receive feedback. So these are some of the lessons learned with Boise Bicycle Project over the last 2 years. Schedule meetings for the full year between you, with the two co-leads, as soon as possible. Schedule meetings with your grantee for a full year. Trust. This cannot say enough about tending the relationship between you and the grantee organization, especially the executive, the nonprofit executive. I'm a typical nonprofit executive, and I'm required to wear a ton of hats, especially in our startup phase. What often happens in the nonprofit sector is that nonprofit executive director is expected to wear all the hats with excellence, and that is absolutely one of the things we have to stop doing. So right now, there's a lack of trust in opening up authentically to outsiders, and there's reasons for that. So your job will be to be cultivating that relationship so that that executive does not feel like they're being judged, like if they expose something that they're a bad executive director. No, in fact, by them going on this journey with us, it says a lot about the fact that they are a great executive director, willing to allow people in to help them get better. Reflection. We're only as good as the lessons we learn and improve from. So there is a forcing function built in, which is the eval team. On a quarterly basis, we will have you stop and collect those lessons. Proximity is huge as well. Proximity means being in close proximity with the people and the organization. So this stuff cannot all be done on Zoom. It cannot be done remotely. You have to know the people. You have to get into them, their organization, and experience their culture. So make sure you schedule site visits and meet occasionally at their location. Intentionality is another watchword that we have, and it's about how we enter into that space of working with grantees and others, about being super intentional about progressing, not staying in at a certain level, but continually, intentionally moving forward. The flexibility, nonprofits and really startups in particular are just notorious for running around with their hair on fire. And I do that as well at times. So we are have to be flexible. We do want to be we do want to make sure that we don't allow them to ghost us, but at the same time, it does require you to be flexible about your meeting schedules. So these are some of the best practices that we've developed as well through the learnings that we have done in the last 2 years. Inquiry. That essentially just means ask good questions. dig deep, keep asking who or what or how or why in a deeper and deeper way. Every month, when you put your monthly agenda together with your co-lead, you want to share it with your grantee a week ahead of time so that your grantee can add topics that they want to discuss, which essentially means your meeting as co-leads should be scheduled 10 days to 2 weeks ahead of your next grantee monthly meeting. Then all of these tools like your calendar, your Trello boards, your key driver diagrams or other logic models, your annual plan, keep that central to your work on a monthly basis. As I said, grantees are often overwhelmed. And so use good counseling practices. All that means is you affirm their feelings about being overwhelmed, but don't let them stay there. You want to consistently move them from where they're at to the new reality of less chaos and greater effectiveness. Then evaluation all along. This is the organizational capacity assessment pyramid. It is the stuff that we have put in front of our grantee to better understand where they are in their maturation as an organization and how effective their organization is. So there's 10 elements that we put in front of the grantee, and we ask that their executive leadership, including some board members, their frontline staff, some volunteers, and if they have some funders that want to participate, them as well. It gives them a 360 of what's working and what's not. And it is built in these different levels of the organization. And the top level, the highest leverage level, is really up in that aspirations and the strategy and the ability that that organization has as far as their skills, right? We want to make sure that stuff is solid, because the other things like the foundational things like the infrastructure and organizational structure, while those things definitely are important, that is where most capacity building resides, is only there. And we've got to push up into the top parts of this pyramid, including their culture. So we use OCA because it is a self-assessment. They do it themselves with our facilitation, and it provides insight about where they're at currently as an organization. It is not a scorecard, report card, or a judgment in any way, shape, or form. It just helps them to identify where they're at this moment in time. It helps deepen our understanding of where they're at so that we can, from an informed perspective, help them co-design a roadmap to get them to a much better place over the course of the 3 years that we are with them. It provides them with an opportunity for day-to-day work beyond what we're doing with them. There's things that they can just fix because of what was uncovered in the OCA. So 119 questions broken into 7 sections. The upper levels are the aspirations and strategy and organizational skills, like I said. Those are their purposes, their mission, vision, and how they want to get there. And then there's human resources, systems and infrastructure, organizational and governance structure, and culture. Culture wraps around all of it. So it's how they accelerate their progress. Good culture means all of those other 6 sections are going to be much stronger. All right, timeline. These are things that happen at baseline is the grantee conducts the OCA and they get awarded $15,000. In the first 30 days, co-leads complete their onboarding process. Then you meet with the eval team to discuss the OCA results from the grantee. You work with the eval team to help identify some of the key drivers that are that we can leverage in order to move them to a better place. Then you're going to initiate the scheduling of the meeting with the grantee, specifically to review and discuss the OCA results. 2 hours is really what we want in the length of the meeting. At that meeting, you'll discuss the key drivers. You'll identify 1 to 2 projects. You will discuss a regular cadence for your monthly meetings, which requires you and your co-lead to have already talked about when you can meet. So then you want to get them scheduled for all 12 months. You will then begin developing the key driver diagram with the grantee and the 12-month action plan. This note about the design sprint, don't worry about that right now. We probably won't worry about it until further into the process. But what it is it's a way to catalyze, fuel, and bring excitement around a particular pain point that lends itself to the approach. In quarters 3, 6, and 9, we ask the co-leads to send out the capacity builders survey. This is where the grantee gets to tell us how we're doing with our interventions and the support that we're providing them with. That data goes to the eval team, and then you meet with the eval team on a quarterly basis so you can discuss those results as well as any other support you might need to help the grantee. In the 10th month, you'll help the grantee submit the annual report to the eval team. And then in the 12th month, what happens actually, and in the 11th month, the board gets the report from the eval team. They decide yes or no on year 2 and year 3, and then disperse the funds upon that approval. Here's a few things you just don't want to do. Don't do the work for the grantee. There are certain times when you're going to actually have somebody come in as a capacity builder that may have to do some of the work, like if it's a CRM or legal work or things like that. You will need the capacity builder to actually help do the work with and or for the grantee, but for the most part, train the trainer is what we need to be doing. They need to be able to, once we exit, that they can do this work themselves. If they're not engaging, if something happens and it's like, wait, they're ghosting us, then you need to reevaluate the relationship and bring me in, bring the eval team in. We can talk about it. Maybe it's just a matter of restarting, resetting, or something else. But you don't want to be carrying the organization. It only hinders their long-term success. Also, historically, the philanthropic system sector has had these huge, huge inequities. And much of it has been because the philanthropists have come in and tried to tell the nonprofit how to do things in order to fix them. So we don't come in with a fixer mindset. We come in with a learner mindset. And we are here to learn from our grantee. Because we do have a lot to learn from them. And so just keep that in mind when you're doing your work. Resources, we got a ton. The Trello board is project management. Most of our teams use it. You'll get an email that has the Idaho Partners for Good extension. You will have access to the workspace where we protect the documents and other assets. We have a ton of capacity building resources. We do have the impact team, which is our social entrepreneur side of our organization. These are independent consultants that do this for a living, and they come under our umbrella and we deploy them. And then part of their revenue is retained by us to fund our operations. Well, let's just say if there's something that happens and we don't have a capacity builder, then we can go to the impact team and see if we can source someone to help from there. And then, of course, I'm here. So I've got lots and lots of background in the nonprofit sector, sitting in pretty much every seat. And then we've got this huge group of capacity builders, and all you have to do to access them is just shoot me or an info@Idaho Partners for Good email, and we'll get them activated to help you. Okay, in the next module, you're going to be learning more about logic models, specifically the key driver diagram. Design thinking is in the onboarding for capacity builders, but there'll be a link in your module or in your classroom. The annual action plans will be discussed in the next module. And then other resources are essentially, you just let me know what you need and we will try to source it for you. So I love this because this is essentially what you're going to be doing. And it's a quote from Jim Collins, who wrote Good to Great. Greatness is not a function of circumstance. Greatness, it turns out, is largely a matter of conscious choice and discipline. As co-leads, what you're doing is this. You're helping them to make better choices and instilling discipline into the organization. So thank you so much for being part of this amazing journey to help systems leaders in Idaho truly become all that they can be so that their organizations can do more of what they do best.